Booby Hatch, Bughouse. Hilarious names for serious places. Today we have several related stories that depict the horrific things that happened in mental institutions in the 18 and 1900s. The first is the infuriating and tragic story of Genevieve Pilarski, who was lost to the world due to being a strong-willed woman and nothing more. The last is about Nelli Bly, the journalist who went undercover and got herself committed in order to expose the horrific things that were happening in mental institutions in the 1800s. Join us today as we escape the Bughouse.
Welcome back into the Escape Pod, everybody. I'm Julie.
I'm Charity.
And I've never heard it called the Bughouse.
I know. Booby Hatch, that one was new.
I feel like that one I've heard, but not the others.
Okay.
Interesting.
There was a whole list of them. I just picked out a couple because I'm like, whoa.
The goofiest ones. Yeah. What are you escaping today?
I think I'm just escaping, I have been riding on adrenaline all day.
Oh.
Good adrenaline, exciting things where, with the startup and focus and all the things. And so it's just that when you get that validation that something you've put so much effort and energy into is actually working and it's exciting, and but too much adrenaline can be a bad thing. So it's this is nice. I'm sitting down. I'm breathing.
She might crash.
Grounding myself.
We might see her
it's kind of like caffeine when adrenaline gets going. So I'm just blah, 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 all day, trying to, anyway, yeah. So it's just been a good. So I just need a little coming down from that so that I can focus, no pun intended.
Well, I've seen the sun now in the last hour, so I think we are escaping the dreariness that we had for about the past 48 hours.
Soup. It was soup this
morning. Can
I
tell you that I wore a fluffy robe to bed last night because I refused to turn on the heat, but I desperately wanted to turn on the heat. It was one of the coldest highs we've had.
Oh, yeah.
For July.
It was weird.
It was super weird. I was inside most of the day, but I walked out and I was like, holy cow.
It was cold when I got up this morning.
It's like fall.
When I got up to work out, I'm like, oh, it's kind of chilly. So I'm like, I put socks and a sweatshirt on to go work out and then I not turning
I just
the heat
thought
on.
My husband.
It's a summer. I'm not.
Will wonder why I'm turning. Yeah, I'm like, even though and one of my children did say, could we turn on the heat? And I was like, I think we'll be okay, buddy. You'll be fine. As we were getting ready for bed. Because I'm like, once you turn it on, the smaller rooms get hot real fast.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're not doing that. But I wanted to. I desperately wanted to.
Fair enough.
Okay. So speaking of interesting rooms, I don't know. I don't have a great segue for this. But this is a very historical piece of journalism, if you will. This that we're going to dive into today, which I kind of love. That's part of the reason I picked it to be one of them that we did in the near future. Tell me more.
Just a little behind the scenes knowledge. Some days, so I have stories to my liking. I will have 6 to 8 always in the hopper. And then some days I don't know what I want to talk about, and I'll say, Julie, I've got this, I've got this. So we've been kind of playing with this, and it really came from. We've talked a lot about hysteria and how women, their uteruses were wandering around and all these crazy things. So they would get put in mental institutions just for being hormonal or being having an opinion or, God forbid, reading a frickin' book.
Right.
Educating themselves, feeding their minds. This was all oh, we can't have women doing that. And so it prompted doing some research into this. And I've read books, I've seen stories, documentaries, movies. I thought we could bring a little bit of this history to the Escape Pod today.
Yeah, and thankfully, we haven't escaped all of the myths surrounding women and mental health. However, we've come a long way compared to what you're going to bring up today.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Surely?
What could happen in another 100 years? All sorts of stuff.
I don't know.
Okay. Take it away.
Born September 29th, 1919. Jenny, as she was known by her family and friends, had a love of learning. So this is Jenny Pilarski. She began studying at the University of Illinois in 1941, majoring in chemistry. So this is like one of
Wow.
the OG STEM girls.
Uh-huh.
Love it. She was said to be very bright and gifted. She was like very neat and organized, tidy. So her rooms, her homework, everything was impeccable. But as all of us, nobody's perfect. She occasionally suffered from episodes of depression.
Okay.
Could be being a female in a male-dominated major in university and time, and some sources claim she was manic depressive, others just occasionally depressed. Either way, think about being a woman studying science in the 1940s. I mean, there was bound to be a lot of misogyny. I faced it in the 90s. When did I go to college? Okay. Gender role expectations that, these women were defying. So I'm sure there were plenty of social and circumstantial issues at the time that could weigh on
Could have
somebody.
played in, yeah, for sure.
So as she was preparing for her 4th year in college, she and her parents got into what must have been a pretty serious disagreement over where she would live. So Jenny was of the opinion that adult children need to fly the coop and be free from, hear her quote, be free from family entanglements, which I just love the language there.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she's wrong. But her parents felt otherwise. Unmarried, all the things, right?
Okay.
So, and in 1944, they had her committed to the Manteno State Hospital because of it. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. It'll come back to me. I did this research a long time ago.
Okay.
And this was against her will, of course.
Yeah.
She was only 25 years old.
Right.
Right? We have employees that are 25 years old. Can you
Yes.
imagine? And they are very different in how they view the world and how they navigate their careers and things like that. But somehow, even as a 25-year-old adult, they were able to get her committed, probably because she was not married, but then they probably would have convinced her husband to do it. So while she should have never been institutionalized in the first place, she was there now. So doctors began evaluating her. And they noted that although she was pretty quiet, she was agreeable, she was friendly, and she displayed, quote, no signs of active pathology.
Okay.
One would think maybe this would be enough to release her.
Yeah.
Obviously, that did not happen.
No.
Or we wouldn't really have much of a story to share here.
What?
So they proceed to continue evaluating her month by month, year by year.
I'll evaluate some things.
Oh, where are we going to evaluate?
Listen. So many things.
Where do I start?
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, you brought it up. So let's evaluate something. Right or wrong. Okay. So there's a big construction site by my house.
Oh, my.
And it's so big and nothing's paved yet. Everything's coming out of the ground. It's massive.
Okay.
And so the construction workers have been parking at the strip malls across 5th Street.
Okay.
Which is a 5, if you count the turn lane, 5-lane street.
Mm-hmm.
So in the early mornings, you'll see people park. They walk across to go work and then they go home. So this particular morning, earlier this week or last week, I'm not sure, there is a man early in the morning. I mean, I'm coming to work at like 6:30. He's walking across the street all by himself, cigarette hanging out of his mouth, just lost in his thoughts.
Oh.
Now, normally, because I do this every morning, people are walking across the street. They'll wait in the median for traffic to go by because there's no crosswalks there. And then when it's safe for them to do so, they cross the street. This guy is just lost in his thoughts. So I just gave a friendly little tap on my horn like, you're in the middle of the road. Please be careful. What I got was not oh, crap, let me get out of the way. It was big monkey arm and I'm just like, you're about to lose your cigarette there, jackass. I mean, just being a jerk. I'm like, all right, I guess someone could just come and flatten you. But anyway, so
you're not wrong.
Let's evaluate that.
I would have done the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I would have tapped and probably gotten the bird too.
Yeah.
But I'm amazed at how many people, like I even tell my kids in a crosswalk, don't dawdle.
No.
Like if people are stopping for you.
Yeah.
Like, just give them the courtesy of, I mean, not that you have to run every time, but I have watched kids like on their phones walking across crosswalks. And I'm like, I really hope people stop for you because you'd have no idea that you were hit.
No.
You'd wake up in the hospital or not wake up at
What's
all.
the car look like? I don't
Right.
know.
No clue. So,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was a little sidebar. Sorry. Go on.
All right.
Go on.
So they're continuing to evaluate her month by month, year by year, and it goes a little like this. She would express concerns to her therapists about the stigma of being labeled as insane because of being locked up in an insane asylum.
Okay.
But she would still, when questioned if she was suicidal, would tell therapists that what life she had was still worth living.
Awesome.
That doesn't sound like a clinically insane person to me.
No.
It sounds like a young lady who cannot comprehend that what she did was bad enough to warrant having all her freedom stripped away like that, right? Maybe is a little depressed now that she's locked away from the world.
Right.
Shock.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right. Now, while she was still agreeable and nice, she did not hide her displeasure. Can you imagine me locked up?
No.
Would not hide my displeasure.
Heaven
either.
help you.
Yeah. And she kept insisting, hoping to get through to them, that any 25-year-old should be free to live their life free from family issues. She's trying to get them to see things from her point of view.
Okay.
She was an adult, so how the hell did her parents get her committed in the first place against her will when there was nothing in her evaluations to indicate that she was a threat to herself or a threat to society? It was just absurd. So sometimes the therapist would question what she would do if she were let out, and she would respond quite matter-of-factly. She wanted to complete her education.
Okay.
She was in her 4th year after all.
Yeah.
Get a job, buy some new clothes, acquire some new books, and buy some beauty products.
Sounds like a 25-year-old.
It's exactly what I wrote.
Yeah.
Exactly what I wrote. And during one of these early evaluations, she was asked if she had any enemies. She very matter-of-factly says, everyone has. Her brother, for instance, was an enemy because he had threatened to hurt her. Her father was an enemy because he had beaten her up, slapped her, and torn clothing off of her.
Ooh. Not okay.
When asked if anyone had ever tried to poison her, I don't know why they asked this, she responded, I have eaten things I don't like, but I wouldn't call that poisoning. It just kind of shows how logical and rational and very left-brained she was, right? When asked the difference between a lie and a mistake, she asserted a mistake is a casual error, a lie is deliberate, conscious attempt to twist the truth for personal gain.
Yeah, she's very smart.
Very smart. And still she was kept locked up.
Yeah.
Months later, despite 0 dings on her evaluations, she was put through an experimental hydrotherapy treatment that consisted of submerging patients into different bathtubs filled with very hot water and then very cold water back and forth for prolonged periods of time. She, understandably, considered this a punishment.
Yeah.
And by 1945, not even a year after she was institutionalized on top of this hydrotherapy torture, she had been subjected to 40 insulin coma treatments and 14 electroshock therapy sessions.
No.
Yes.
That's a lot.
And then these therapists conducted her deep dive evaluation. Now it's time. We're gonna mess her up with all this crap, and then we're going to do the deep dive evaluation. You will not be surprised to hear that it did not go as well as it did at first. One of the doctors documented that she was unfriendly now.
I'm going to be pretty unfriendly.
She had stopped mingling with others and had become disagreeable, and that she was no longer a neat and tidy person.
Well, you've driven her insane,
Right.
probably.
I mean,
yeah.
she shouldn't be in there in the first place. You've tortured her for months. She's suffering at your hands. She doesn't want to be friendly towards you. Cause and effect. What do you...
Yeah.
Anyway. So because she was on this downward slide, their now recommended course of treatment became even more aggressive. By mid-1953, she had racked up 187 electroshock sessions and was offered up as a candidate for a new form of psychosurgery in 1955 that was sweeping the nation, known as... Any guesses? Lobotomy.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
This was often
So
conducted...
that was started, I guess I thought that was earlier in our history. Okay.
50s, yeah.
Okay.
So the lobotomies were often conducted at research hospitals on unwilling patients who were not consenting to this treatment. And of course, Jenny was no different. Her patient files noted that she had, quote, extensive neurosurgery with bilateral extirpation of most of the frontal and temporal lobes. That's bad. meaning that they had succeeded in removing both sides of her frontal and temporal lobes. Nowadays, this is used to treat diseased or infected organs, but they caused her mental decline and then only made it worse with this psychosurgery. It's really hard for me to believe that they truly thought they were going to cure her.
Yeah.
Like fresh air, release, giving her freedom. That's what would have cured her. I think they were all sadists who really legally wanted to torture people, period.
I think sometimes you do have to consider, like, is the treatment worse than the disease? Even if she had actual
Depression
mental
or
health
whatever, yeah.
issues, was this going to be better?
No, it's I don't know. I wasn't alive at this time, but
I mean, I know science and medical science is a
just don't
lot
get
of
it.
like trial and error. I mean, we come to some amazing cures and treatments through it, but I'll often wonder, like, what were people thinking? Like, how could you think that that was the answer? Poking at people's brains.
well, you want to
I mean, to the extent that they did. I know now, I mean, I guess we have learned a lot over the years, and there are brain surgeries that can go perfectly well. But
they are no longer doing lobotomies as
Correct.
a matter of course for psychotherapy. You want to guess how she responded to this treatment?
not well. Not well.
Jenny was now totally mute.
I was going to say, how is she even still alive?
Just wait. She was totally dependent on commands for functioning, everything from like toilet urges on up. What's more, they recommended her for an experimental course of electric convulsive therapy now to see if they could make positive changes in her condition, because they know what it takes to make negative changes in her condition. Let's see if we can. So more electroshock, more deterioration leading to confusion and unresponsiveness and wandering, and she ended up becoming unsuitable for further research. They destroyed her.
Yeah.
They destroyed her. She ended up being a mumbling, wandering shell of a person. She spent her days staring at the walls or just wandering around for the next 45 years of her life.
That's horrifying.
No family, no advocates, no hope. And over those last 45 years, she became more and more lifeless, incapable of human interaction, left to drooling and babbling. Okay, so word is getting out about this type of thing.
Okay.
Which is what's going to lead us into another story here. So anyone could see that people in charge essentially murdered her.
Yeah.
They just played the long game. I mean, she died as a ward of the state of Illinois in 1998 at the age of 79 after living in Manteno. I think it's Manteno, the Manteno State Hospital for 54 years, all because she wanted independence from her parents as a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all she did.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. You know, that didn't help my
I know.
cortisol
I sense that.
level any. Sorry. Okay, now we're going to talk about Elizabeth Packard. This is a shorter one.
Okay.
A similar thing happened to Elizabeth. She was committed against her will, basically for harboring different religious views from her much older husband, 14 years older. She was college educated. She was smart. She could think for herself. Her dad was a Calvinist minister. And so as she grew into adulthood, she was married off to also a Calvinist minister.
Okay.
And she had a bit of a different experience in that when she was 19 years old, she developed a really high fever. The recommended treatment at the time was bleeding and purging for a fever. Glorious. And when that mysteriously didn't work for her, her father had her committed to an asylum, as you do.
It's hard to even imagine.
I know.
Right?
Well, just like the wandering uteruses.
Yeah. Well, and I think today I would argue that I guess I've known people who had like adult children who had a lot of problems, whether mental health or like substance use disorders. And it was actually really hard to get them help sometimes. It was really hard. I mean, they couldn't just commit them depending on the circumstance.
No, it's very difficult.
And they tried.
Back then it was like,
Yeah.
They'll
And I've
take
known
anybody.
people who have tried desperately to get people into just, and I'm just talking about like a more intensive therapy situation, not what we're talking about today. But it's just interesting how the tides have turned. Like there, it was like, here's a place for them.
Yeah.
Insane asylum.
Yeah.
Like we thankfully know better now, but we've almost gone like, now it's hard sometimes to get people the help they need.
Right.
Yeah.
So in Elizabeth's case, she was in the asylum for 6 weeks. Her health actually improved. She was declared healed and she was released. But she was convinced that it was not any of the treatments they administered that healed. It was simply the passage of time.
Sure. That
Right.
happens. Yeah.
Of the fever and all. Okay,
Yeah.
so again, another very rational-minded woman. In fact, she firmly believed that the symptoms she had were a result of their treatments and not the fever itself.
Mm-hmm.
So now she's married to this much older minister. She has 6 children. She ends up in Manteno. She starts doing work that she enjoyed, exercising her independence rather than what her husband wanted her to do. And of course, this did not sit well with him. She would travel on her own. She would conduct missionary work, and she began to express differing religious views. So this deviance in religious views were the last straw for her husband. He had her committed.
Okay.
Fun fact, effed up fact, in Illinois at the time, men had to be put through due process to assess their sanity levels before being committed, but married women had no such privilege. They could be committed with no evidence that they needed to be.
Shame on you.
Yeah. She was kept there for 3 years, protesting her imprisonment the entire time. They got so tired of her, they labeled her as incurably insane and released her.
Okay, that's what would happen to you.
Yeah.
They would get so tired of you. They'd be like, we can't cure her. We're going to have to let her go.
I am described as tenacious
Right?
and persistent. So I guess that's the secret. So she got to go home. Her husband wasn't happy about it, and so then he imprisons her in their home. This was not, however, legal.
He needs a place to go.
Oh, he can go someplace. So when it was discovered what he'd done, charges were filed, a trial did ensue, and the jury found her sane. And after that, her husband left her because she was just too much trouble. And I love this. She began publicly advocating for the rights of mentally ill patients and married women.
Okay.
And told her story far and wide. She became a force lobbying in various states on these issues. So Iowa, Maine, Massachusetts, for instance, she helped bring about the creation of teams who would regularly visit and monitor conditions in asylums. In Iowa, the Packard's Law made it illegal for asylum officials to intercept patients' mail. And she was also on the winning side for reforms to commitment laws in 4 states, as well as the passage of a law protecting married women's property in Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah,
So she did escape.
yeah,
Kudos to those jurors. Can I just say that?
Right.
Who got it right.
probably we're all men, but
Hey,
progressive men.
I mean,
There's a few of them out there.
maybe just reasonable men for once.
Something, yeah.
in that time frame and these circumstances.
So here's another little one, Lady Rosina. This happened to her too. She was a very vocal feminist and British writer, estranged from her parliamentarian husband, Sir Buller Lytton. Doesn't that sound like a British parliamentarian?
I kind of like it.
So this piece of crap didn't have much time for a mouthy wife, so he locked her up because she was opinionated. And he feared that could jeopardize his elected seat. Yeah. So she was pretty popular in her own right and kind of sicked the press on her husband because of this. So she was released 3 weeks later and wrote about her ordeal in the asylum in the 1880s, A Blighted Life. Quote, "Never was a more criminal or despotic law passed than that which now enables a husband to lock up his wife in a madhouse on the certificate of 2 medical men who often in haste, frequently for a bribe, certified to madness where none exists," end quote.
Right.
So I love her. Love her. All right. And then this last one is Nelli Bly, which I think you are familiar with the work she did. I did not know about this, but I am also a fan of Nelli Bly's.
An early undercover reporter.
Yeah, but so risky.
So risky.
Had such anxiety when I read this. I'm like,
Yeah.
what if she can't get out? What if she can't get out?
Yep.
So journalist Nelli Bly had herself committed in 1887 to get the scoop on what was happening at the Women's Lunatic Asylum on Blackwell's Island in New York City. So we've talked about this on past episodes where, again, you didn't actually have to have a certifiable mental illness to be committed to become a ward of the state. Excessive masturbation, epilepsy, dementia, syphilis, business troubles, religious excitement, loss of friends,
It happens.
kicked in the head by a mule, eating too much peppermint candy,
Oh, I'd be in big trouble.
being addicted to nicotine,
Oh.
postpartum depression, skip a period. Oh, called menopause? I'd be screwed. I mean, you could be institutionalized for these
I
things.
was going to say, or just stressed out. That'll do it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Extreme
once you were
stress.
committed and declared insane, whether true or not, you pretty much lost everything, family, property. And if you were wrongfully committed and expressing your outrage,
Yeah.
you could be beaten. You could be given enemas because enemas are going to cure opinions. You could be treated with leeches.
Leeches,
Just suck the mouthiness right out of you
they freak me out.
because I know you. I imagine that is a true statement.
Freak me out. Yuck.
They are pretty gross. But this was a fix for mental health problems. We just, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. So I think I missed a memo. Yeah. Because with someone dyslexic and the directive was to treat mental illness instead of cause it, I think there was
Right.
dyslexia involved, something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to Nelli. She is staying at the boarding house and decided to make a scene knowing that, so this is how she gets committed. So she's at a boarding house. She's like, I've got to get myself in there, like, and make it look good, right? So she knows that in society at that time, they couldn't handle a woman acting out in any way. So as planned and predicted, she was taken into custody. The judge relied on the help of an insanity expert who had Nelli open up and say, ah. You didn't know that, did you? Yeah, you can check insanity.
That's how?
Yes. He checked her eyes, her pulse, her heartbeat, the whole time she was holding her breath, trying to throw off the results so she would be committed so she could get undercover. And it worked. The doctor, term used loosely here, took her to the insane ward at Bellevue where a second doctor examined her and declared her positively demented and remanded her to Blackwell Island. So she writes in her book, because she did escape, that when she disembarked the boat, a very drunk attendant told her this place was a place she would never get out of.
She might have been regretting her decision
This whole
for a
thing
moment.
scared the hell out of me. So
Yeah.
quick effed up facts. Have you ever wondered how people dealt with mental illness way long ago? So here's some fun stuff. Of course, most had to stay with family members. But I read that in Ireland in the 18th century and before, large holes beneath their houses were dug out with some sort of like barricade preventing them from being able to get out of the hole. And that was used as a holding cell. So people were chained up with the pigs. They were staked to the ground in workhouses or otherwise restrained on the properties of family members. I think that just shows like how desperate people, like they don't know how to treat something. So then they would treat the person like an animal. The first psychiatric hospital in Europe was the Bethlehem Royal Hospital. It sounds posh, but it wasn't opened in, probably, was it 1247? I think I have a typo here. So it's either 1427 or 1247. I think it's 1427.
A long time ago.
Long time ago. Their cure for hard-to-handle mentally ill people, chain them in place by a ring around their necks, whip and starve them to scare or punish the mental illness out of their minds and bodies. Sometimes people would tear off their own skin to try to get away from this brutality, and if they couldn't escape, they were confined this way sometimes for years. So knowing all this, Nelli was determined to find out what kind of therapy was really happening at this new state-of-the-art facility she was trying to essentially break into.
Okay.
So it was rumored to be more humanistic and less about punishment. Okay. It was touted to be more like a retreat with peace and quiet and healthy food, some of which was actually grown on the property by the patients there. At least that's what the intent was and how they started out.
Okay.
By the time Nelli faked her way into a commitment, she'd been hearing rumors that there was severe overcrowding with 6 people crammed into a room meant for 1, that many people were dying. She'd heard of a woman forced to give birth while strapped in a straitjacket along with a bunch of other horrific things. So she wanted to learn for herself what was really going on there. She reported, shock, that this was not peace and tranquility in this place when she arrived, but rather people looking lost and hopeless. Others were insisting they were sane, but no one was listening to them. Once she got there, she dropped all pretenses of the derangement that led to her commitment and later reported that the more normal she behaved, the crazier they thought she was.
Oh.
And so she was soon forced into an ice bath. She was scrubbed raw. She reported feeling as if she were drowning. This is where I started freaking out, like she's going to get stuck there forever.
Right. Even though you know, like, who's writing the book.
She clearly wrote the book, but still, I get so sucked in. So just one day of being there, and she experienced being completely discarded as a human being. She reported she had to wash in the same filthy bathtub as patients with open sores caused by syphilis.
Okay.
And that they wouldn't change the water until it was, quote, thick and dirty enough with human waste and dead vermin, end quote.
You're going to make me throw up.
I'm sorry. This is history, Julie.
It should stay in history, some of that. Some of the details, you can just leave them back in the 1800s.
You're going to love this. She was fed rotten food and meat too tough to chew. Toilets were nothing more than long troughs that were rarely emptied.
How everybody wasn't just physically sick all the time.
Oh, God. So
right?
Retreat. This is a retreat. And humane, right? So clearly she knew these were more than rumors that she'd been hearing. So while she was there, she heard that there was a man who'd been committed simply because he couldn't speak English.
That's horrible.
I mean.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No, because he'd have no idea what was going on.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So people were beaten for refusing baths, even though bathing conditions were septic.
Right.
They had punishment contraptions that were like a cage all around you, so you couldn't move at all, like a coffin. So she's gathering all her evidence, and now the question is, how the hell is she going to get herself out? And she learned that the average stay there was 20 years. I don't know that she had it all planned out.
Right.
Okay. She spoke with doctors. She begged them to retest her sanity. She threw every test, they threw every test at her that they could to validate she was sane. Anyway, it didn't work. It didn't work. The more she insisted, the crazier they believed her to be. So, because her editor knew she was undercover, thank God, he finally sends a lawyer there to fetch her after he'd not received any communications from her for 10 days. So all of that she endured in 10 days.
That's crazy.
She published her expose. They were held accountable and were given a budget to increase for better care of their patients. So some good came out of it. But still, how could people work in those conditions day after day and not try to do something about it?
Yeah.
I also read, this is just another effed up fact, that Charles Dickens later tried to commit his wife Catherine to an asylum so that he could pursue an affair with a younger actress. So that was one that wasn't on the list before, but it could be, I just want to be unfaithful and not have the guilt of having to look my wife in the face. So anyway, so that's the story of Nelli Bly.
2 of the 3 that you featured did escape.
Yes.
Yeah. Nelli with the help of the editor. Thank God.
Can you imagine?
I couldn't remember
going
all the
undercover
details
and
of
never being able to get out.
No.
Anyway.
No.
Craziness.
That
Absolute
is
craziness.
a commitment to your craft. She was a journalist and she wanted to be a truth teller.
Yeah.
And good for her. But
I mean, it's noble, but holy crap.
There is a reason why you don't hear all of.
I'm just glad they did that because she should have had a plan. If you don't hear from me in a certain amount of time.
Right.
Something went off the rails.
Right.
I'm stuck in the cage or whatever. Or I'm septic.
Ugh. I mean, she could have just died from disease.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
So.
Wow. We are glad. I mean, talk about force for change. Oh, awesome. Okay.
So applaud I applaud her.
Yeah. Should we applaud?
Good job.
I love it. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and do escapism co-host style. Stay with us.
Are you ready to re-enter the workforce or find a career that actually fits? Or maybe you're an employer, tired of noisy platforms that miss the mark? Try Focus, a smarter hiring tool that helps you cut through the noise and focus on what matters. Visit focus.work today. That's FOQUS.WORK.
Welcome back into the Escape Pod. I'm Julie here with Charity, and we escaped some pretty grotesque details about places where people were supposedly going to be helped through mental illness.
No, we're just going to cause it instead.
Yeah,
That's really sad.
it is really sad. We have
Deplorable.
learned a lot over the years, thank God. Nothing's perfect. We know that, but I think we can argue that some changes have been made and make life a lot better.
Yeah, agreed.
Tell me something you're escaping to that you want to escape to.
Yeah,
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
Guess-
I don't know. I've just had a lot of fun seeing a lot of people for a college reunion.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering because,
Because they were a lot of fun.
a lot of fun.
Okay.
But even staying up till like 10 o'clock throws me off.
Yeah.
My body wants to be, my brain, everything wants to shut down by 8:30. I'm usually like drooling and ready for bed. So no, just a lot of that. And then at the end of the month, I have some other friends coming into town, and Tim's like, I don't know if we can handle it. I mean, literally one night we were hanging out with friends in a pub's patio, and he had some buddies at another bar, and he hadn't seen him. He'd been hanging out with me and my sorority sister. So he's like, hey, let's go see this guy. So we go get in the car to drive over there because it was chilly that night and we didn't want to walk. And we get in the car and looked at each other and we just went home. Both of us were like, we're so lame. So anyway, so yeah, I think I'm just still recovering from losing a little bit of sleep and all this stuff. And then, but no, I just want to escape to working on all the stuff I was working on before I came down here to record and like.
She's going to escape from the escape pod.
Yeah, to go work on my stuff because I'm excited.
Guess what I'm doing this weekend?
Swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not swimming.
You're watching swimming.
Not a pretty sight anymore.
You're watching swimming.
Yeah. Last meet of the summer season. Big state meet, and it should be fun. It should be fun. And I think the weather, okay.
Oh, it's supposed to be nice again, yeah.
Well, it's on the east side of the state.
Oh,
but it
I didn't
still
look there,
looks better than it could.
Yeah.
Because I've been to meets there where it's like 90 plus degrees and 90 plus humidity. And
Ooh.
it's a little rough.
You want to be in the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody for listening. We're so glad you do. Please download, like, share all the things. And then do you want to tell them about becoming a patron?
Yeah, I don't talk about that a lot, but right through our website at escapepod.live, you can become a patron. There's 3 different tiers, $2, $5, $10 a month, I think is what they are.
Yep.
It just gives you access to extra content. But more than that, it's helping fund the work we do here at One Heart. It's not, trust me, this redesign of the studio, like most of it was donated and it was like $70. So we did it really on the cheap. Hopefully you're enjoying it. But definitely not going that's going to funding real life breakouts. And keep in mind, we do like to hear from you. Ideas for topics to cover, feedback on an episode, escape stories, all of that you can send to us at justbecause@escapepod.live or escapeartist@escapepod.live.
I do want to share just a good escape story that we have a guest who is very, has worked for a while now at escaping to a sober life, and has told multiple people that this length that she's gone, I believe we're at 10 months now.
Yes.
The longest she has been sober since she was a teenager and a young teenager.
14, I think
14.
she said, yeah.
Which kills me a little because that's my kiddo. So, but she lights up sharing that story. She shared it actually just before we started
before we
today.
started
So
recording.
I think when you talk about becoming a patron, it is you are helping people escape the crisis of poverty, the crisis of addiction, the crisis of all sorts of things, sometimes abuse, trauma. That's really what you're doing. So please do it. And download.
And then you
and
get
share.
more content to hear us, and some of it's off the hook. We have a good time.
That's going to do it for us. We are closing the hatch on this episode of the Escape Pod. Please remember, trauma may be inevitable. How you grapple with it is optional. So stay resilient.
And keep being mouthy.
And keep laughing.
Bye,
Bye everybody.